So, Senior Runner here, and again I want to talk about winter. There's several parts to this. Please do stay on board. Please do watch the whole video. If you don't, do make sure you like and subscribe before you go, please. And at the end, there's a really important, really interesting one as well. So please do stay on board. We're going to talk about the different things that we do, and the things we do wrong, and the things we should be doing right as we come out of winter in particular. They are really all winter related topics. So we're going to start with one first. And it sounds really easy, but it's something that most of us, including me last year, get or got wrong. So once again, I was in January, February, and I was looking towards my race in November and thinking, right, I want to make sure I'm absolutely fit all the way through. I need to do some strength training. How am I going to do that? We'll go to the gym. Now, I immediately think, yeah, we'll go to the gym. We'll do it every week. We'll make sure we do it every week. And to that end, I'll buy a membership, a full year's membership. Now, the problem here is it costs a lot of money. It really does. Now, do I really want to be spending hundreds of pounds on a gym membership for a full year when I know what I'm wanting from it is, hopefully one visit a week? That pays for itself. Yeah, I agree. But if I was honest with myself, and that's the point, we need to be honest with ourselves at what our goals are and what we're trying to achieve and when we're going to use these things. And I obviously wasn't, because what I did is go and purchase it, fine, and we'll use it once a week. It's especially useful for winter when it's raining. And when I joined, what are you trying to achieve? I said, well, I want to be coming in here when it's raining, when it's cold, because I don't like. I'm a senior runner. I go out there, I get a cold. I only have 1.5 lungs. I get chest infection, and it can get very serious. So I want to do it inside. But the problem is, when it's wet and raining, I didn't think about the 1 mile walk to the gym because I don't have a car. So how am I going to get there? As I didn't think things out. So it starts raining. Great. Do I really want to go to the gym? So I had to wait until it wasn't raining. It was also like cold, but not throwing it down with rain, which in winter is not that often. I did manage to get one visit a week until it started to get summer, and then I prefer to run outside when it's summer, and I got some weights and I started training in the house, which took the point of going to the gym completely out of the picture while it's nice and sunny. Because when it starts getting winter again and we start getting close to the race, yeah, I'm back in the gym once or twice. But like my trainer said, where have you been? Not using the money that I spent on the pass. So do think things out, and it doesn't just go for the gym. Anything that you suddenly decide on a whim, sit back and think, look, how am I going to use this pass? When am I going to go? Look, I want to go and run on the seafront. I want to run by the Abbey. I want to run. Think about it. Think, when are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? Is it weather related? Are you going to only do it when it's summer? Are you only going to do it when it's winter? And try and make sure you plan things out so that you understand what can happen to scupper whatever it is you're trying to achieve from whatever it is you decide to do. So always plan things out in looking ahead and looking at the risks and what could and the opportunities, and looking at and trying to balance it off against what might go wrong, and against things that you haven't thought about, like, I'm going to go there when it's raining. It's a 1 mile plus walk to the gym. Do I really want to be walking there when it's throwing it down? I don't think so, senior runner. I would rather get out there and run in the rain around the road. So do think about that when you make your sudden decisions when it starts coming out of winter. Second thing is about clothing. Now, I have done 2 videos on clothing, one on tops, one on bottoms. It's equally as important not to get overheated and using too thicker clothing as you get out of winter, as winter starts to turn into spring, as it is important that you don't get too cold by wearing spring clothing a little bit too early, and it's you get hit by a sudden hit of frost and freezing cold weather. So please do look at the videos. Please do look and select those items of clothing that you're going to go running in really carefully, because you don't want to start getting yourself injured or having a cold that's going to take you out for 2 or 3 weeks. And when you're a senior runner, yeah, it's unfortunate, but colds can last an awful lot longer than what they can with the kids when they get a cold. So we do need to look after ourselves, do need to look after our bodies. Make sure you're wearing the right clothes. I know it sounds silly, but a lot of us, when we start seeing the spring times just ahead, go to the cupboard and start, right, okay, we'll get the, or we can start wearing this one now. We rub our hands together with, yes, we're going to look really good in this. And we go out and then we think, ooh, yeah, it's a bit colder than what we thought. Or, ooh, I wanted to keep the thicker one on because I thought it was really cold. And you get out there and you realise, actually, there's a bit of warm air out there today, and I'm really getting quite warm after that first 1, 2, 3 miles running. So do take care about the clothing. You don't want to be too cold, but you equally don't want to be too hot. And as we go through winter, especially when you're coming out of it, you've got to make sure that you're totally in control of how hot your body's going to be, because the weather is now changing. You also need to think about it when you're going into winter, obviously, because again, it's going to slowly or even quickly get really cold, and you don't want to be wearing those thin clothes go diving into winter where it's snowing and you've got thin clothes on and think, I thought I could get away with it for another week. So do be careful as the temperatures change. Wear the right clothes. You say it can be really critical. Too much sweating and getting too hot, really bad for you. But equally, especially with regards colds and flu, you don't want to be going out there in thin clothes, thinking that you still had another week or 2 wearing that nice autumn/summer running wear. There are options around, and I did mention them in my 2 clothing videos. There are ones that can take that transition very well. So have a look at them, at the videos. They do tell you what sort of materials are best to try and give you that transition period between autumn, winter, or winter, spring. And we move on to the next item. Now, the third item is a little bit of a double whammy, because as certainly for senior runners, and certainly beginning runners or beginner runners, when you go into winter, you tend to hit a state of, I just don't want to get any worse. Let's just hang on. Let's not overdo it. A lot of people don't like running in cold weather, and that's fine. But try and keep that the momentum going enough so that you don't detrain. That's probably the most important one of the 2 that we're going to mention now, because detraining is just it's allowing your body to start to get close to that point where it starts losing muscle mass when you're a senior runner. So we don't want to really start getting anywhere deep into the detraining route. Now, the second part of this is when you start getting through winter and you've tried your best to just keep going and not to detrain during that cold period, we need to be able to look forward and decide what is it we're going to be doing and when are we going to come out of this winter slow off of training. So when am I going to go back out and start doing more running? Am I going to do it when it's a certain weather that starts coming in, depending on what country you're in? Is it when a certain temperature starts being the norm for wherever you are? Or are you just going to say, in January, mid-January, I'm going to start going out there and I'm going to start improving my distance? Also, what are you going to improve it to? Give yourself some targets, give yourself something to aim for. Winter is a perfect time to do this because it's when you sort of come out of your shell, I suppose hibernation. You've started to hibernate, you've gone through winter nice and gently. Make sure as you come out of that hibernation, you go, bang, I know what I'm going to try and achieve this year. This year's goals are, and write them down. Make sure that you personally know what your goals are. And even your spouse, make sure they know what your goals are, because believe it or not, they can help you and help drive you on to make sure that if you do start lapsing a little bit, they can see you're just not quite hitting it and try and give you a bit more incentive to get out there and run. So make sure you get both of those nicely balanced as you go through winter. So we come to the final one, the one that's really important. Now, as you come out of winter, if you're a senior runner, again, if you're a beginner especially, that's probably your slowest point of the year that's coming ahead. Now, at that point, it's very important that you look ahead and try and book yourself into a couple of nice, at least one, probably two, nice events that you can look forward to, plan, target, and start, and you can look at them and say, right, okay, 18 weeks before that is this date. That's when I'm going to really start improving my training. I'm going to start it around here. I'm going to try and improve it to a certain speed or that I can do a certain distance and complete it without stopping. Whatever your goal is for that event, you've written it down. You know when you're going to start the training. You know when you're going to finish it. And you can target it. It's great for the brain and for your ego. And in January, you've just booked your. So that's our coldest month, January. So yeah, book it in January so that I can look forward to summer and I can say, I'm going to have that race. I'm going to start training really intensely at that point, and I'm going to try and get this time, and I'm going to need that time by that month and that time by that month, and I'm enthused by it. The problem is, and I know what some people are thinking, yeah, but I might not feel like doing it, and I might only decide to go and do it not in January, but February, March, April. I might not decide until April, and the run's in June, so I'm okay. The problem is when it starts getting warm and you're out there running around, a lot of time you just think, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And you don't, there's not that same incentive when you get halfway through the year. When you start getting into the warmer weather, I find that certainly for senior runner, we tend to just think, well, I'll be okay. I can do it. I can improve my times without having a race, without having an event to go to. Because I'm recording. I've got my watch. I've got my Garmin watch. I've got the data on my app, on my Connect app. I'm fine. But you don't get the same oomph. So when you get to that, just coming out of the winter period, just coming out of the cold period, whenever it is for you, look at yourself and think, is there something I can target? Probably quite a way ahead that I can plan, enjoy, and you enjoy the planning, and that's the other thing about this. I love the planning, and if you're like me, having this event planned now in like eight months' time is great. I'm enjoying this. I'm looking forward to starting the training in 2 or 3 months, 3 or 4 months' time, and I'm planning how I want my times to improve or not get worse, and it's great fun. And you miss it if you leave it, because if you leave it, you've missed all that fun, and you've missed all that. Ooh, yeah, if I can just nudge it forward a little bit before I start that training, I might even be able to, get a couple of minutes off that, And it's great, and it's a real push. But the push starts as soon as you booked it. So don't miss that enthusiasm, that real surge of, yes, come on, we've got months to go, but if I do this properly, I can push this nice and gently. It's such a gentle, slow improvement would make such a big improvement at the end. And you also don't get to that point where I have got, there's a race in 8 weeks' time. It's a bit close. Perhaps I've left it a bit long. I won't bother with it. And I've done that. I think I did that twice last year. And didn't book it. Got to a couple of weeks before, a couple of months before, I think it was. And it's only down the road. And you're like, I should have done it earlier, so I had a little bit more training time. And you don't do it. So, and it's a real loss to your that enthusiasm just doesn't materialise. It's a bit of a downer, really. So do think of those things. Senior Runner, over and out. Do like and subscribe.